Hello, hello, guys. Welcome to the newest episode of the BarnCast. I'm your host, Farhan, of course. And joining me today, fresh from his boat and on dry land, Jimmy.
What's up?
Heyo. Good to see you on solid ground.
Yeah, it's surprisingly not moving.
Next up, he's back after a bit of a hiatus, but he's okay. How you doing, Neale?
Not bad. It was a hiatus hernia.
Oh, my.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, my, indeed. And it's Jackson. Yeah. Hi, Jack.
Oh, wow. I had a big thing prepared. I was going to be like, who else but me? Just like from the Loki series, but never mind. That's okay. It's only me. That's fine. I get roasted.
Yep. It's only the Mr. Barnyard himself.
It's only me. Yes, the logo. It's my
The
face.
guy.
Hello. Yeah.
The guy you see in every one of your streams.
Look, I try to get other people in here. It seems as though I have to be here this week. Terribly sorry to inconvenience everyone. Here we are.
I'll allow it this time, Jack.
We'll endure it for now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
How good.
We've learned to put up with a lot.
Oh, the things we do.
Yep.
So, on today's episode, we're going to be covering all of last week's worth of news and updates given by Warhammer community. Guys, this has been a really big week, especially with the dropping of the Dataslate, which we'll talk about later. But there's so much more news on Chaos Space Marines, new edition of Underworlds. We're going to be talking about that. Oh my god. We've been talking about them every week. We're going to be talking more about Knights as well. So, Jimmy, it's good to have you on this one for this one.
Oh, so excited about this one. I was going to say how big of a week this has been. Chaos, Knights, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
Welcome to the dark side, my friend.
But before we get onto that stuff, I'd like to begin with...
You know, I was so prepared for you to say, and now a word from our sponsor. And then
now
Audible.
a word from our sponsor.
Come on, Audible. This is where you cut right in. Show us the money.
Hey, if you want to hear my lovely voice
sponsor.
shouting out our sponsor,
Yeah.
you can always
All right.
ask. But let's get started. I'd like to get started on Chaos Space Marines, guys. Oh my god, we've got the data sheet itself. 3 attacks on a base Chaos Space Marine.
It's
What?
insane.
Yeah,
And it's so good.
Yeah, it's almost there. It's almost there. I reckon it needs to be at least 4. I would have gone for 4 and then given them an extra one on charge instead of 3.
But
I
you just
reckon
give
they need
them-
more.
You just give them a
it's 4 on the
chainsword.
Sergeant, isn't it?
It'll be 4 on the sergeant.
Is it for a sergeant or a normal guy? No, the normal guy is just a legionary.
The normal guy would have 3 attacks, and the Sergeant
Yeah.
always has an extra attack.
Yeah, I would have given them
And
4
because of
base.
Hateful Assault, and
Yeah.
you give them a chainsword.
And then
Well-
there'll be whatever the Legion is, which will give them an extra attack on charge, a bonus extra attack. It'll be nuts.
World Eaters, baby.
If the everything stays the same as it is in normal Marines, then I would have given them an extra attack over the normal Marines. I would have given them base 4. Oh, I mean, I guess they are base 3 instead of 2, like the Primaris. But it depends on what they give them, because I feel like they need even more. All the stuff that's been coming out has had loads of attacks, loads and loads of attacks. So, I mean, all the new NID stuff, like the Carnifexes have 10 and 11 on charge. I feel as though they could have ramped it up even higher. It is nice to see them getting buffs, though. But
It is.
I'm not going to count my
I'm
chickens
sorry,
yet.
man, but are you crazy? 3 attacks on the base
I
troops
am
choice.
I think he's
insanely
crazy.
crazy.
Yep.
Look,
Like,
Farhan, we're World
what?
Eaters players. If the Berserkers don't come out and they have like 11 and 12 attacks each, I'm going to be disappointed.
You do realise that they're probably going to keep their fight twice thing, so I don't think they need
Yeah,
base
I mean,
5
like,
attacks.
I will
It's
be
just-
very surprised if they keep fight twice. I reckon they're going to remove that because
Nope. Wrong.
everything
Nah.
that has it been confirmed.
No, you're just wrong.
I mean, nothing's been confirmed.
Okay, then I'm almost certain that they'll remove it because everything that had fight twice is basically going because it just involves you rolling a bunch of dice. Like all the shooting twice abilities, they're gone. In NIDS, like where you shoot the 180 bullets with Tesla, that's gone. They reduced all the dice to make it a nice quick game. They gave everything extra AP, extra strength, damage, etc. If they keep the 12 attacks that don't do a whole lot of damage and then they fight twice, I'll be very impressed because they'll probably just bump them up to like strength 6, strength 7, -2 or -3, and then lower the attack so you don't have to roll 400 dice.
But it's fun to roll 400 dice.
It is,
really-
but
it
it takes
really
such a
is.
long time.
Yeah, man. Like, I absolutely love the fight twice. I love the fact that they get extra strength on the charge, extra attacks on the charge. They're really good. I just feel like they need just that little boost of wounds. And I mean, if you're gonna lump up some more attacks, like you just gave the normal Chaos Space Marines, then I'd love to see that on Khorne Berserkers.
I think you'll find there's something there. Like all we've seen is just what the base stats of a legionary is.
Mm-hmm. And it's promising.
It's promising, and there's going to be like we said, the aspiring champion's going to have another attack. The chainsaw to give you another one. There'll be something else there, especially for world eaters. It's exciting. I'm keen.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be good. I feel like just based off of this, I've got a good vibe about it.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to have a look at the new stat blocks for heavy chain swords? Was it chain axes?
Heavy chain axe.
And the demon blade and stuff. They're giving them
Is this new?
all. Yeah. It's all from the same article.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that yet.
Yeah. You know how they had the kill team box with all of the really funky, really smiley looking men?
Yeah.
That's going to be added onto the actual war gear that they have is going to be added to the normal legionary squad. So the heavy chain axe is going to be there. Demon blades. You get to choose if you want your sergeant for the squad to be a psyker, which is crazy.
So good.
That seems pretty awesome.
But it's a bit hard to go past that demon blade because dude's getting, if he's an aspiring champion, he's getting 4 attacks. Any 6s to wound, an additional mortal wound, in addition to the damage, which is damage 2. And you're getting death to the false emperor, everything.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely removing that. I reckon they're removing that.
Why are you so
It's
negative?
still here. It's still here until they tell us it's
just
not.
the way that the books have been going. It's like they're giving everything an extra attack flat now instead of giving you the exploding 6s. Yeah,
I mean,
it is a sad time.
they didn't do that with orcs, did they?
Just no.
Daka was still there.
Yeah, no, they did remove that. Daka is no longer 6s to hit or extra hits. Now it's just you get extra shots within a certain range.
Okay.
Streamlining.
Yeah, so
So I do.
Everything that was like exploding 6s has been removed, really. Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
that's an opportunity to make it unique to one faction.
Yeah.
Well, it still exists. It's just not in toxic amounts of quantities. As in, like, for example, you can... there used to be a way to give all shuriken weapons exploding 6s. Now you can give one squad exploding 6s rather than just giving it to everything.
There's a couple of chapters that are exploding 6s. Don't
Yeah,
Crimson
Imperial Fists and things. Yeah.
Anyone that's
Yeah.
a fister who likes to fist can explode.
But that was for Marines that came out at the beginning, and I don't know if they're that keen on keeping it. I mean, that you've already seen some changes recently to Marines, which I assume are going to stay around for the release of the Chaos Marine Codex as well. But they may do some changes and stuff. I think they're all about the speed of the game at the moment. Some things for the better, and other things for the worst. Like some of your favorite rules, like Death to the False Emperor, I think are going to go. But they're going to be replaced with other buffs and things like extra attacks, new stratagems, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Look, one thing I actually wanted to ask you guys. It prompted me when I read the article, to bring it up. How similar do you want them to be to normal Marines? Like, I don't really want Chaos to feel all that similar to their Imperial counterparts.
No, absolutely not. These guys have been in the warp for 10,000 years. They're going to be so different.
Yeah,
100%.
of course not. That's why I said they should get more attacks. They should be more of a glass cannon. They're
But they
crazed.
just did.
Yeah, but
They
even more
just
than
gave
that.
them more attacks.
Even more.
And the fact is that if they keep it, hopefully they keep it, because I think it's been a thing since 4th edition at least, that you can have blobs of 20 Chaos Space Marines. Because that's what the Legions did back in the day.
That's true. That is Legion
I feel
size.
like the bearer of bad news, but I also think that's going to go.
No. Jackson, stop. I'm not liking this vibe. I'm not liking this vibe.
My only reference for the 20 blobs is that Gene Stealers, for example, you could take 20s of those and now they're only 10s.
Sisters. You can have squads of at least 15 sisters, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can
they-
keep 20
they-
of them
about it.
as
They
well.
Fire
upped-
Warriors are capped at 10 only.
The GSC
Yeah.
went up. GSC went up. And down, actually. They moved some units so you could have more, and some units they actually shrank.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not hopeful that they're going to stay at 20. Maybe something like Berserkers because they're unique to World Eaters and things like that, but normal Marines,
well, I mean,
not
if
hopeful.
the rumors are to be believed, the World Eaters, like the Khorne Berserkers, aren't even going to be in the Codex.
Ooh, World
Just
Eaters
based
book?
off of rumors. Yeah. Well, apparently they're not going to have those guys. They're not going to have Rubric Marines or Plague Marines in the book. But you can ally them like Harlequins, right? That's what they said.
Well, Harlequins are actually in the book and that you can run them as their own faction.
Yes, but this is like they in the current book, they're in the book as elites choices that you can run. But from the way that they've worded it, it sounds similar to how they're talking about the Freeblade and Dreadblade Knights,
Yeah.
where you can add them into your armies, but they don't break your what do you call it?
Your faction,
detachments.
Your detachment
I
ability.
think it's going to
they-
be closest to things like Assassins or the Corsairs units from Eldar that can go into Dark Eldar, things like that.
Yeah.
They're similar.
Well, they'll still all
100%.
have the heretic as what is it? Heretic as Astartes keyword or something like that. So
Heretic Astartes, yeah.
that's the one. Yeah.
I mean,
And they're going to be they're going to have an ally as well that you might be able to use with the Leagues of Votan, right? Because they're going to be chaos as well.
yeah,
so-
extremely heretical, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. See,
Chaos Dwarves? Chaos Dwarves?
Gonna be a
Don't
thing.
tempt me.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, Chaos
that's Jimmy.
Dwarves.
That's
That would
Neil's next army. While
that would
Jimmy
get me.
dives
Yeah.
into chaos.
very excited.
Sounds like the channel's just falling to chaos, guys.
Oh, we welcome it.
I mean, it's taken over my household right now. So
Excellent. I think we should move on to the next topic then.
You know, Farhan, you didn't ask us at the beginning of this one what we've been working on.
Oh, I haven't. I haven't.
He's getting so rude.
Oh,
He was
look,
too keen
guys.
for Chaos Marines, and we've just flown straight past the hobby side.
I've been so excited about this stuff, and you've been poo-pooing me just now about all my attacks that all these guys get, and they're not good enough for you.
I think Jackson's just trying to bring the vibe back because all he was just negative during the whole chaos.
Yeah, yeah.
topic.
Look, okay, I'm
So-
sorry. I'm bringing some realism.
All right. Let's bring it back. Realism. You won like 10 attacks at Space Marine.
Absolutely.
You maniac.
What do you mean? I mean, things that came out recently have that many attacks.
Yeah,
It's
Arcanifex
crazy.
Arcanifex is not a space marine.
Witches
Yeah.
have 4,
Not
Harlequins
with that
have 4,
attitude, but it could.
Solitaire-
Solitaires
squad-
have 10.
Wait. So a squad of 10 Space Marines will have, what, 31 attacks?
Yeah.
Without
Yes.
any other abilities, anything else. 31 attacks for a unit.
Yes. Yes.
That's
That's
more than
not
your unit
enough.
of 2 Carnifexes.
It's not enough.
Good.
It's not enough, everyone.
I'm sorry, guys. I feel like Jack's lost his mind. Anyways, let's get back onto it then. What have you guys been working on, I guess? Thank you, Jackson. You're bringing us back.
You're welcome.
You know what I did?
Would you like me to start?
I played my very first in real life game of Age of Sigmar.
Wow.
Is that with our unnamed Knight player? Chaos Knight guy?
It is.
It is.
Yes, you're not allowed to name names, Neil, but
Yeah.
we all know. Yes, it was with the unnamed Knight player.
He will remain unnamed.
Yeah.
Yes.
That person.
And-
it was a great game as well. It was 20. He won 23 points to 21. Right down to the
Wow.
wire.
Wow. Wow,
That's
that was
a
close.
nice game.
And
Yeah.
what were you playing?
I was playing the Vampire.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're 100%
Vampires.
legit vampires?
My 100% legitimate vampire.
Yes,
And
all
then
bought directly from Games Workshop. Yes.
100%. And nothing was proxy, and there weren't a bunch of invisible wolves riding around on bases.
Excellent.
Yes. Yes. It's not like we all got a photo of random bases that were added to the game with nothing on them that were the incorrect size, Neil.
Yes, that did not happen.
Yes.
Not even once.
That sounds amazing. I'm so glad. How did it how did it feel playing Sigmar finally in person? I mean, you've been playing a lot of GTS?
I did. I honed my skills against Jackson on TTS, and
Yes.
it was interesting because he started off by just massacring me game after game after game, but it did provide me the ability to hone a list and tune it and tune it and tune it until it got to a point where he just stopped playing with me.
Yeah, it wasn't fun anymore. He
Sounds about
realized that he actually started remembering like more than half of the rules of the game, and because he's playing, what are they called? The
vampires?
the Soul Blight Grave Lords. Is that the one?
I mean, we don't have to call them by name.
Yeah, they are broken compared to the armies that I'm playing. Sylvaneth and what's the other? Just plain corn demons, no mortals added in. Other than that, I had Daughters of Cain, which could stand up a little bit, but my gosh, some of their units were so broken compared. As soon as he started writing lists that made sense, I just got demolished. I had no chance.
Well,
Wasn't even
holy
fun.
gee, guys. Listen for an Age of Sigmar rant coming soon.
Yes.
I don't know why we've been, even before we started recording, we've just been roasting Jackson.
It's just that kind of night, you know.
Yeah, it's just kind of that kind of day.
What have you been?
That's what it is.
Working on, Jimmy?
I have. So I think I mentioned it in the last podcast that I was expecting a rather large order of 3D printed goodies.
No,
Goodies?
of completely legitimate
Yes,
GW.
completely legitimate GW pieces of
Yes.
a plastic creation.
Yep.
Ran out of words.
Yeah, I ran out of words. I had nothing after that. And yeah, they arrived. So they all got the resin wash treatment, even though the person who provided them said I didn't really need to. And I said, well, you know, I've done Krieg for so long. Everything resin comes into my house and it gets washed.
No,
So-
lovely.
So I
We
did
take
that.
care of our resin in this house.
We do take care of our resin in this house. And I haven't done much else because I've had a sick child to take care of. But just as we were starting to record, I sat down and started dry fitting some Krieg snipers
Hey.
that
Ooh.
I'm going to build. So because I have finally done up an army list for an army to work towards. So
I
Yes.
am
You,
so
Jimmy, you
excited to
said
see these.
You've been messaging me about what units you were keen on painting, and I was saying that you should just paint the things that you really like, and then you were like, "But that's all of them."
yeah, it is. It really is.
That's fantastic to hear, man. Like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you have like an army that you end up planning it out and thinking about it so hard, and you just don't want to work on it. Like, I've had Seraphon. That's actually what I've been working on. I've been painting Lord Croak. And I've had it for so long. This army is the first army that I had in Age of Sigmar, but I I never had that motivation to paint them. And I'm so glad for you, Jimmy, that like you're so into it. Like you're so like invested in this army.
Yeah.
Because that motivation's gonna finish that army.
The Kriegers have been like I would say a passion of mine for a very long time, and now that their guard are finally, hopefully, getting a new codex soon, I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine at the end of 9th edition, at the end of all of these codex reveals, they just go, we're just removing guard from the game, sorry.
I think I'll cry.
I think that's like physically impossible.
Yeah. It's a big
like-
flavor win.
Yeah.
Chaos Marines, demons, and then everyone's like, where's guard? And they're like, who's that? We don't know what
We're
you're talking
replacing them with the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how heretical they are. They wiped out humanity.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of lizards,
yeah.
I have been working on the space lizards, the Tyranids.
They're
More and
not
more
lizards.
Tyranids.
They're
They
not
are
lizards.
They're not
They
lizards.
are
They're
lizards.
bugs.
They're not even close to lizards.
They can be whatever I want them to be,
They've
guys.
got
okay,
6
and
arms.
when I
They're
get
insects.
when I get a very legitimate sculpts from the legitimate website online, okay, they can be lizards, okay, and they can look very similar to the bugs, and they're still lizards. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna lizard it up, okay? They're space
know.
lizards,
I don't know.
at least in
how-
my heart.
What you think a lizard is?
I'm really worried about them, guys.
Well, I mean, they're
Guys.
green.
They don't have eyes, and they have like 8 legs.
They do have eyes.
Lizards.
They do have eyes. There's plenty of eyes on them. I mean, they're not spiders. They don't have like a bajillion eyes or whatever, but they have 2 eyes, just like Neale has 2
I mean-
arms. And
Just
they
2
eat
arms.
And another thing.
other thing. Yeah, the sculpts don't come with that other thing though, so it's fine.
Why are we comparing
Yes.
lizards to Neale now?
I don't know. I saw the reference to the previous podcast and I had to put it in. Okay, I'm sorry. If you haven't listened to the previous podcast, go do that now.
If you're listening to this,
yeah.
just stop right now and go back and listen to it.
I don't
Yeah,
do that.
trust
That's
me.
a terrible idea.
No, but I've been painting space lizards because I need to get some ready for a tournament that I'm going to be going to, and I believe I'm going to be taking the Tyranids, and I also need some more Tyranids for the channel because we have quite a small Tyranid army, as in we to make 2,000 points we have to use the same units quite often, but
And borrow some from friends.
yeah, exactly. Borrow some from friends. But even right now, in my very hand, I have a Carnifex that I'm painting. I've also got a
That
new
has
Hive
11
Tyrant.
attacks?
It has 11 attacks, yeah. Thank you, Screamer Killers. I have a Hive Tyrant here. I have a Neurothrope, and I've got another Winged Hive Tyrant. So very good.
Nice. Hey.
It is nice. I'm very keen.
Nice.
I'm going to paint some
Yes.
stuff, and we'll have a good time.
Guys, before we move on, I have to bring us back to the Seraphon because I need to make an oath here. I will finish my 2,000 points of Seraphon before I move on to anything else.
Yay! We're supporting you.
Okay, this is perfect.
I've
This
been
is exactly what we
staring at
need.
them.
That's big.
I mean, Farhan is the one who edits these videos, so please don't edit that out. But I mean, if this goes up on and it's live on YouTube, we will have proof, permanent proof that it is here. He quoted it. He said it. He's gonna have to finish them, everyone.
I am going to do it. I am going
Okay.
to do it. It's going to suck. I'm going to feel like painting a million other things because that's what I do. I'm a hobby butterfly.
And
But I'm gonna do
Jackson, when are we going to get AOS on stream?
That's a very good question. So I was going to say, actually, as of right now, release date of the stream, if you want to check out a Tyranids game, I would have played yesterday with Jordan and his Custodies. I
Wow,
believe.
what a
If
game.
I know, if everything goes to plan. So I don't know how that's going to pan out because I haven't played the game yet. But if you're keen on that, go check that out. And then on Saturday, I believe the Nids will be on again. And in terms of Age of Sigmar, look, it's not really a matter of the people or the armies. It's now a matter of the boards. We don't actually have a whole lot of Age of Sigmar terrain. So
Hey, Jackson,
yes,
I may or may not have
Are they
found some
painted?
terrain.
Ooh.
are they painted?
Well, I got to see if our guys who have the terrain are willing for me to loan it
Okay.
for the boards.
Okay.
But we may have some terrain.
Okay, because I have a few pieces, but they're not painted. We obviously have all the mats to do it. Yeah, so I'd need to do a lot more painting, which is a shame. Oh, also, I might just hand them over to Neale, and Neale can paint them. How about that, Neale?
No.
What if I bring them round with
I think
Dreadfleet? Dreadfleet? No?
Yes.
Okay, we have a deal,
Excellent.
everyone. You heard it here first.
All right, guys. I think we should move on because we are halfway through an episode already.
Excellent.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk Underworlds.
Ooh.
Because we have Jackson here today, which obviously we planned this out. We get all the experts specific on your armies in for each week.
Yes.
I swear.
Yeah, it's not like we're missing Matt,
Jackson,
who has every army there
are these
is.
the Warcry dudes?
I don't think so. Okay, I know I'm an expert, and you've put me up to the test here. When you say these dudes, I assume we're talking now about the new K-Knight Shadowstalker looking guys.
Yes. So
the Daughters of Cain.
there's a new edition of Underworlds coming out, and the box set is going to have Daughters of Cain, which, from my eye, I haven't gone and checked, look like the Warcry team, and Clan Eshin Skaven, which are obviously my favorite clan of Skaven. And I love Skaven. I love seeing new models of Skaven. But I want to get started on the Daughters of Cain beforehand.
Well, I mean, we definitely should have brought Jack onto this channel, not me, the other one, onto this podcast, because he is a big player of Underworlds and a big player of Skaven. He loves Skaven. So it's a shame he couldn't join us today. But
I don't know what you mean. We brought the experts about Underworlds on this week.
Yes, the expert. I
Yep.
don't think that those K-Knight Shadowstalkers are the same as the original one, because the main leader looks different to me. I've seen that leader a lot because often people convert that model into some kind of Warlock, Farseer, Spirit Seer thing for Eldar, and I believe it's different. So it looks like a bunch of new sculpts to me. I haven't gone and checked though, but if it is, I would be keen to see it. And also keen to see more conversions, because I think loads of people are going to do that too.
I mean, hands down, I got to say, Underworlds always delivers when it comes to really interesting new sculpts.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember hearing on, I think it was actually the Warhammer specific, like Warhammer community podcast, so ages ago, like a year ago or something. And they were talking about how they use Underworlds as an excuse to experiment with their sculpting and the way that they make things fit together so that you get more dynamic stances and stuff. And that's why you get such like crazy, cool looking models.
Well, it does make sense because your warband is like 4 or 5 individual models.
Yeah.
Where you're not trying to be all like, oh, I got to sculpt a unit of 10.
Something that can be multi-part or anything like that.
And then multi-part or whatever. It's just like, yes, sweet. I've got like creative outlet to be like, I've got 5 dudes to design.
I've never thought about it like that. Like I've never really noticed that they've been doing that in the past. But you are totally right, because now that I think about it, they had the crab, right? They had the little crab thing.
Battle crab.
Love that
Their
crab.
battle crab. They had the what is it called? The lizard. The peoples, the
awesome skink.
The skink.
The autopaddle, my guy.
Yeah, with the blowpipe. Yeah, they had him. Man, there's a lot. And normally it's like a little animal that people are like, oh my god, it's adorable. But still, there is a lot of sculpts in there.
Yeah,
interesting.
And even like the normal guys, you always get them in like an interesting, very interesting, like different stance.
Yeah. Because
it's usually like one guy from this unit. But like instead of that, you get a really cool looking one. Like I remember like Headcracker's Mad Mob, which is the Savage Orcs, and I mean all the Savage Orcs are quite old kits, but to see this unit of them, they look so good that it makes you excited to see what kind of new models for that kind of army is going to come out. Especially because so much of the armies in Sigmar are like cannibalized from Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Yeah.
Well, there you
which
go,
are-
Farhan. You're going to have to buy like 150 boxes so that they know that you're keen, so that you buy more stuff when it comes out.
Yep. You guys know me too well. I'm gonna buy all of the things. But I wanted to ask, like, specifically, Jimmy and Neale. I don't know if you guys have played Underworlds before, but do you think this like interests you at all, or like?
I had a fair bit of Underworld stuff, and a long time ago, I had it for like quite a while, and I realized I never played it ever. Like I played like 3 games, and then it sat in a box and never came out again.
Is that because you lost interest, or because you didn't have people to play with?
I think I could have got games if I really wanted to, but the models interested me more than the game system. So right now I use the Underworld's models for some of the vampires in my vampire army because the models are cool and dynamic, exactly as you were saying before. But I have no interest in actually putting them on a Underworld's board and doing stuff with them.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say about the game is that once you have played a lot, or you're playing against someone who has played a lot, and both people know exactly what they're doing, then it really does come down to more of a luck game and the cards that you pick up, because the movements are quite clear and thought out. Like you don't have to strategize for very long.
I feel like that has to do with like our skill level in the game, because this is basically GW's card game, quote unquote, like their trading card game equivalent, and those games have a lot of minutia to them, and a lot of like thought goes into what cards are put in and how you kind of structure your deck so you do get the cards that you want, or you always have something that you can use. I feel like that's a limitation on us more so, but
I think like, if you're super heavy into the system, then you've probably gone out of your way to gather
get the cards,
cards that you need to build a extremely tight deck. The deck of cards that you get with the base pack that you buy, it's about a third of the way there. Like,
it's a good start.
It's a good start, but one of the things you learn very quickly if you play Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic is that in order to reduce randomness, you need to have multiple copies of the same thing.
But in this game, you can't have multiples. You can only have the ones.
So, but you can have then you get to kind of like into theory around what they do in things like Commander in Magic, where you can only have one, but you can have multiple copies of the same effect under different names. Right?
Exactly. That's how Underworlds. I was just about to say. I mean, talking about like the dynamic poses and stuff, like look at this guy. Look at this Skaven dude. He's literally running off of like a sewage wall with his little Skaven, little rat friend.
I love like the little detail of just a little rat underneath his feet. Like,
look, I don't know about you guys, but like,
I want that.
You know what I noticed? I noticed that is
it's always the little tiny details on these models.
It's the water coming out of the pipe. It's the tail on the thing. He's got like, it's great.
It's so cute. It's so good. Oh, just like what you were saying, Jackson. Like, it's just these little cute details that I don't know about you, but when I show models or people spot like my models, that's the stuff that they get their eyes drawn towards. They're all just like, "Oh, what is that? That looks pretty interesting," and then they're spotting like all these little details, and they're.
It seems like it's built more for like a collector's dream rather than a army, like a cohesive army. Because I like the details, you're right, but I wouldn't want to paint like 50 of them, because then it would get really annoying.
That's what makes them so.
Yeah, you would.
I knew Neale would love it.
Neale's dream.
I don't want to paint 50 dudes that all have a tiny little lizard that has to be really high detail running underneath them.
If you wanted to say tiny little lizard, like, what is it, Lord Croak on the model? I have spotted 3 frogs and a little skink lizard just roaming around on his chair that I gotta paint separately, and a bunch of snakes. Actually, he's sitting on snakes, so like, I'm obviously gonna give myself far too much time to paint the snakes.
You did say you were going to paint them, so
Yeah,
Of course.
every
You
single
got to
thing
go for the details. You got to go for those little things.
before you're allowed to paint anything else.
Yeah.
You know, I might have dug myself into a grave on that because now he's not going to get any 40k painted.
100%. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to see salamanders with cavaliers in the future.
Oh, that's okay.
So good.
We're okay with that.
Yeah. Anywho, from talking about the little tiny details to talking about the really big boys, let's talk knights. Because we got an article this last week about both Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights, and we got our Knight player Jimmy in,
Yeah,
and you got to talk to us.
baby.
Do you want to talk Imperial first? Or you want to talk Chaos first?
Let's talk Chaos first, because you know, I'm all about the
Since
Imperium.
when?
So, yeah,
Oh, okay, the Imperial. I thought you were about to say, I'm all about the dark gods, you know me.
well, you know, kind of. I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
Guys.
Oh, what? That's the first I've heard. Aha.
Oh
there's
my
hope
God.
for
What do
him
you mean?
yet.
Well, you know, my knights are Imperial Knights. There's no debate about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get Chaos Space Marines, so naturally, next progression is Chaos Knights, right?
I mean,
go,
there's
guys.
a load of different pathways. You could get demons instead.
No. Don't be
I
silly.
mean, once a Knight player, always a Knight player.
That's it. That's it.
Let's talk favors of the dark gods, because like this is some crazy stuff.
This is a very interesting mechanic, and I'm pretty keen about it. I'm not quite sure how it works, whether you give so.
Do you want me to explain?
Yeah, let's give an
Please,
overview
yes.
first. Let's give an overview.
Jackson, do you want to?
No. Please go ahead. After you, my friend.
Okay.
Yes.
So, from what I understand, you put an upgrade onto your knight, and as the game goes on and you get kills with that knight, he gains favor with a particular chaos god because the upgrade's obviously aligned with one of the chaos deities. And once you reach the threshold, based off of the knight class, you actually end up getting the favored ability, which is like an extra ability on top of the boon, the chaos boon that you get. So the first one they show us is obviously, if you guys can see on the screen, is the corn one.
Blood
And-
Shield.
I gotta talk to you guys about the third dot point, which is no psychers for corn. He'll give you another weapon skill and another attack instead.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I
awesome.
love that. That means, I mean, Jackson, you and I are quite into corn specifically when it comes to this sort of thing. And
Yes.
I love seeing this. I love seeing this specifically because I wasn't so excited. Oh, I was kind of excited because it looked cool, but I wasn't so excited on on this like Knight Abominant because it was a psyker, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess. But this means you can run it, and you get something for it.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed that you're not talking about the first dot point, I guess it is, where it says that you can't make invulnerable saves.
That's the second one.
With the second one, we were saying that there would be something where they would remove invulnerable saves, and here it is, right there.
100%, man.
One
But
of the
you
first
also-
things they released.
But so your opponent can't make invulnerable saves, but you also can't make invulnerable saves.
That's okay. Khorne doesn't care where the blood flows.
Exactly.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly it. So that this blood shield is like the epitome of a corn rule, and it's amazing.
Which it doesn't really make sense as to why he has Chaos Knights then, does he? Because they don't have blood. But
the pilot does.
well,
And
that's
hydraulic
only one
fluid.
guy. Hydraulic fluids.
as machines become more chaos-ified, they do become more demon engine-y, and they do function more like an organism instead of a machine. Yeah, because it's like a demon-possessed thing, so it becomes like half demon, half.
Like,
Bingo.
do the big robots have the same like human knights inside them controlling them that the Imperial robots have?
I'm not too sure.
So they you're talking about Chaos Knights, yeah?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do the Chaos
So, yeah.
Knights have?
Do they have a pilot?
A pilot.
So they do have a pilot because their households that used to be Imperial Knights would still have pilots in the Knights. and they've gone in there. So obviously, being Chaos now, they've probably been in there for so long, and they've been morphed into their chair. But there are still pilots, like pseudo-human pilots, you would call them now.
That being said, I do reckon that there are some Chaos Knights out there which are just possessed by a demon.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of thinking of a Nurgling piloting a Chaos Knight, and it's amazing.
Love it.
But yeah, no, you can have a look. Like the favorite ability is actually just right there. Like depending on which knight class you have, be it 5, 10, 15, tally. I don't know if they specified about units or models for the tally. I'd say it's units. You reckon I don't know.
I don't know, actually.
Units would be too big. Like
15, that'd be too much.
It would be. Unless like they all have a cumulative tally, then maybe. I reckon it's models though.
I've never seen a thing as high as 15 for units.
Yeah, so I reckon it's models.
It could be models that need to be a certain size, as in like in the NID stuff, they have a thing where there's a synaptic kill tally, and it gives you points based on the size of the model that you kill, excluding transports as well. If you kill a model that has 3 to 5 wounds, you only get 1 point, for example. So, yeah, could be similar to that.
Yeah, all it specifies in the article is kills, not really what the size is. So I reckon it is models, and it will have something like vehicles count as 3 or something.
I do think this is very similar to the sagas from Space Wolves as well. They have sagas, which is like a warlord trait, but you get a small buff, and then you get the larger buff when the saga is completed. So like Saga of the Wolf or something is if you make a charge, then everything around you gets reroll charges. But until that time happens, your Warlord is the only one who gets reroll charges.
Mm-hmm. But just looking at the Blood Shield alone, one of the really big things is it says once per battle. And then the obviously the favored one lets you do it a second time.
Yeah.
I think it is models because you can get to that second one. But that buff isn't so crazy strong. It's not like a huge big buff. It just gives you more utility. I mean, we could compare it to the Slaneshi one, like the Subjugator Machine Spirit, which just kind of gives it an extra thing on top of that.
Which is amazing because
it still doesn't seem like it's too crazy of like a stacking buff.
Because it's in your movement phase. Each time this model advances or falls back until the end of your shooting phase, it counts as remaining stationary.
Mm-hmm. And then the favorite one is just like when eligible to declare a charge, even if it's like advanced or fell back. So it's like
if everything stays the same, that's not going to do anything because knights already fall back and shoot because they're Titanic. Well,
to me,
and they're going to have.
I mean, if it has that, then it's probably saying that we're not getting that.
Well, that's
no. It will because it'll be relevant for war dogs. Yeah, that's the only reason.
It would be war dogs.
So it'll be war dogs only that they're allowed to fall back and shoot and count as remaining stationary, and advance and shoot and still remain stationary. Big knights can't advance and shoot. Unless they have this rule. It does say advance and shoot, right? Yeah.
It would work for big knights, yeah. So
it would work for big knights.
It'll be able to advance and shoot.
Yes.
And then once it's got its kills, it'll be able to advance and charge. So that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. It makes them a bit more speedy. The fallback doesn't do anything for knights because they can fall back, shoot, and charge, except for war dogs.
Can you imagine this on the Harpoon Flamer?
Oh my god.
Advance it, and then just flame things.
And then charge in, man.
And then it's like, oh, what's that? I got my favorite ability. Sweet, I'm going to charge you now.
Yeah.
So
but
that would be
I don't know about you guys,
nuts.
but I kind of really like the Undivided one. I'm kind of, like, I like Khorne, but I also really like Undivided. It's always felt a little bit lackluster for me with the Chaos Space Marine stuff. But the Undivided one is pretty powerful. Like you can't reroll against it. It's crazy. You can't re-roll anything.
And then once you got your favorite ability, you can't wound them on anything less than a 4.
Yeah, man.
Which-
That's
Transhuman.
not a huge deal because they're
Which
T8
I guess with a
anyway.
knight, they're T8 anyway. But I mean, if you got stuff
Yeah.
like
Look.
hammerheads.
Yeah, if you got a storm surge,
Yeah.
we were talking about that in a previous pod about like the crazy high strength and like power of these weapons now.
Yeah.
You will be getting guns which are wounding knights on 2s.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Power creep. It's back again.
Power sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really, really making a run for it, man.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, back to a little bit more safer ground. Jimmy.
To the honourable knight houses. Thank you very much.
Yes, the Night Houses loyal to the Emperor.
Loyal. Yes.
Talk to me. I actually haven't been able to. I didn't get the time to read this article, so you got to tell me, Jimmy.
So it comes in. It's kind of the same premise, I guess you could say, as the Chaos Knights, except it's all about their virtues and honors and being chivalrous. You know,
Sounds lame.
it sounds amazing. So
My God.
I would guess that it's the same premise. So you've got actually it's not towards knights though. It's your army's level.
Okay, so it's like the whole army together.
But the way I read it is that you would take an oath per knight as well.
Yeah.
And it comes with a pledge, a troth, which is like a drawback, you could say. And then its chivalric abilities, which I would guess is like your favor. So once you've got enough honor points, it comes into effect.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of those going around at the moment. Heaps of
Yes.
things come with a bonus and a negative. Ever since I think the Black Templars dropped as well, because they have knights, they have vows, and then there's another side to it, but you get a downside.
Yeah, they get like a pros and cons kind of thing.
And if I read it correctly when I did read the article, if you go down to 0 honor points, you lose all of your chivalric abilities and pledges.
So it's like a juggle. Like you got to kind of balance out your
So
oaths.
each time, so the troth is usually, so if we have a look at refuse no challenge, the troth for that is if you fall back during any round, at the end of the battle round, you lose 1 honor point.
Oh.
Ooh.
So that's intense.
So it's implying that, you want to keep the knight in combat, so you got to weigh up the option of, do I want
Or
to fall
never
it back?
get into combat to
Or
begin
get into
with.
combat to begin with, yeah, exactly. So you just refuse no challenge to like a Knight Crusader or something that's just going to stand there and shoot things to death.
But you wanted to do the pledge, because the pledge is like destroying enemies in melee.
Exactly. Well, it's true, in melee, yeah. So this has to be a melee unit.
This is more of a melee one, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you can.
From what I hear, what we hear down the grapevine, you will be able to run free blades and dread blades in the super heavy auxiliary and let them soup with other Imperium and or Chaos.
It does specify in this article for the Imperial Knights that it's for free blades as well. So
so you'd carry this on into whatever army you bring it with. So
I would say so,
guys,
yeah.
brush up on your rules.
And now,
Yeah.
now how does how does ITC work with that? Because the rule on ITC isn't an actual Warhammer Games Workshop official rule, right? So
The way they
ITC
do
said,
it
yeah, go on.
is that they just say that the largest faction in your army is your faction.
No. They changed it. So my understanding is the ITC formal rule is that you can't sue.
Yes.
So that's not a GW rule. That's an ITC rule.
Yeah.
You
I
cannot
reckon that it's going to
at all.
bend to this.
This is
because,
different though, because they say you can't soup, Neil, but you can still do things like assassins. That's exactly
this
what
doesn't
these are
technically
like.
even count as soup because it's like specific to free blade knights.
Yeah.
Like they're not carrying with them their own allegiance abilities. They're carrying in as free blades or dread blades.
I think that the way they specify soup is having multiple factions within the same detachment.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you have, say for example, you brought up Neale, Black Templars and an Imperial Knight. For ITC purposes, from what I remember, it's been a very long time since I've read their standings and stuff. You would go from being Adeptus Astartes to just Imperium.
I'm going to go tippy-tappy on my keyboard for a couple of seconds while I find out.
Yeah.
Okay, the gist is you can't do that anymore, Jimmy, because in normal Warhammer games in match play, you can only have a detachment that is bound by one keyword that is not things like Aldari, Imperium, Chaos.
Yeah, okay.
So it doesn't work no matter what.
But from what we understand, what we've been told and what we've kind of heard, these guys specifically states that Free Blades and Dread Blades don't compromise that.
No, and they won't, and they'll be allowed into things like ITC because they'll be similar to like an assassin, where they can just be included no matter what. And obviously, they're not going to be more than 1,000 points.
A really big assassin, yeah.
They're not going to be more than 1,000 points, so they won't take up more than half of your army for keyword purposes or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only going to be what, like 400 points or so for a big knight.
even if you bring a big one, it's going to be like 600.
Yeah,
I think.
it's still not like taking more than half the army.
Exactly. But I'm very excited about Imperial Knights because I was getting a little bit sad because it was just all about Chaos Knights. And then this morning I woke up and checked Warhammer Community and saw this and I got excited.
Yeah, I like how they're different. I don't know about you. I felt like Lost Edition, Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights kind of blurred together for me.
Yeah.
As a person who doesn't play either of them, it felt like they played the same. They just looked different.
And Chaos Knights sort of got a little bit more love as well because they were like the new hotness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because
I definitely think that Chaos Knights they didn't have nearly as much as Imperial Knights in the previous edition. They didn't have as many straps, relics, warlord traits, or anything like that, and models as well, because Forge World is the support for Imperial Knights.
Well, I mean, even when Chaos Knights were released, it was basically, here's all of the kits for Imperial Knights, paint them like Chaos. Oh yeah, we also gave you one knight extra. And this is still the case. The Abominant Knight is still part of that one Chaos Knight kit. So it doesn't really change anything else. But it gives you another knight to build out of that kit, which gives you more variety.
I am kind of staring at the one unbuilt knight on my shelf.
Oh. Is he going to be built?
I don't know. Maybe.
Time will tell.
But
all right.
Just so you know that once this book is, like, when we have a date, I'll be on the stream doing nights.
Hell yeah.
Provided.
This is pretty exciting.
They're painted.
Provided someone paints them in time.
Who's got to do that?
All right.
That's
no pressure.
The guy who's too busy painting another Hive Tyrant.
Right now, my hand is holding a Neurothrope, okay?
They all look the same to me, man. They all look the same. You have to paint them green, didn't you?
It's all just biomass.
Look, they're not green and red, Farhan. They're just green.
I mean, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We have a lot of things to discuss specifically about the Dataslate. We need to talk about it, but I'm also looking at the time in terms of how much we recorded.
We have 3 minutes.
We don't have 3 minutes because we started recording about an hour ago.
So we have 4 minutes.
I'm going to give us 15 minutes to cover all of the changes to the Dataslate.
Oh my God.
No pressure.
Can you believe? Can we do it?
No, but we can try.
We can try.
When you say all of the changes, I thought you were talking about the single Chaos Marine. Oh, okay.
The Balance Dataslate.
The Balance Dataslate.
We are going to talk Balance Dataslate because it's very, very important. It is very big. I feel like there's a lot of really good changes in there, and I want to talk to you guys about them, and we need to talk about it this episode. I don't mind if this episode goes over time. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Let's go.
We're in. Strap.
All right. Rapid fire. Let's do it. Let's talk Armor of Contempt, guys. Oh my God. This is like I don't know about you guys. It feels kind of like a Band-Aid for basically anything with power armor.
It's exactly It's exactly what Death and Watch needed to just give that little bit more survivability.
Yeah, I mean, it's great as a Marine player. It kind of feels a bit weird as a Salamander player that you take my rule, make it better, to give it to everyone. But
Do
I'm not going to
Salamanders
complain.
get this on top though? Don't they get both?
No, they get something else, which we'll talk about when we get there.
Ooh.
I actually really like the fact that it worsens AP by 1 because I feel like AP is going a bit insane.
It has got to be insane.
It has, yes. And I like having Terminators, which are functionally 1-up. When if you put a Storm Shield on them, then they're functionally 0-up.
That's pretty cool. That's actually really good. All right. Aircrafts, I feel like that's from before, right? That hasn't been a change.
I think.
Let's talk Astra Militarum. Jimmy, talk to me, man. Indirect fire.
Well,
What?
all I took from this is that Imperial Guard, because I read it when I first read the rule. I'm like, it's all ballistic skill. And
So
it's worse than 1, and I'm like, so all my mortars are hitting on 5s now? That is ridiculous. No one will ever take them ever. And then the little blurb in the
literally-
bottom, just like, this doesn't affect anything Astra Militarum. I was like, yes.
it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, never mind.
I think this is specifically aimed, to be really honest, this is aimed at Tau.
Yeah,
Yes,
it really
it
is. I mean, it's gonna suck a little bit, but I think it's fine. I feel like Tau has also been in a bit of a bit too equal amongst equals,
Yeah, they were quite oppressive, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm pretty glad, in all honesty, that this kind of change is doing. I think it'll be healthy. Let's talk bodyguard abilities.
This is the best change in the data slate.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to talk to me about it, Neil?
Well, you had all these really, abuses of the bodyguard rule where people would stick 2 bodyguards behind a wall so he couldn't be seen, and a hero or a character on an objective and hold that objective completely unable to be shot at. It was not smart. It wasn't how the Lookout Sir rule ever worked, and I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah. I'm glad that they linked it back onto like Lookout Sir, because I feel like that's the important bit, right? Like it was supposed to be like an interaction with that rule, and for some reason they just made it, nah, just forget about it.
And it also means eliminators are back on the menu all of a sudden.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm
All right.
totally fine with it because Tiffany, my beautiful Tervagon, totally escaped it, and her bodyguard rule still works. So
Really?
she can totally do that. She can have Termagons behind
Tiffany
a wall.
the Tervagon.
Yep, she can have the Termagons behind a wall and still be fine.
Glory.
30 how
pretty
hard remind me how hard it is to kill 30 Termagons again?
You only have to kill 16 of them, but behind a wall, you won't be able to see them. And with the new indirect, unless you're Astra Militarum, they're going to get +1 save. They've got a 5-up armor base. I can give them 5-up feel no pain. And they can
Jimmy,
ignore
let's-
You up
81.
for the tusk?
Yeah, I'm up for it. Let's keep going. Sisters.
Be up
Alright.
my mortars.
Okay. Adeptus Sororitas. I feel like there was no changes. Jimmy, tell me if there was a change.
From my limited memory of not Astra Militarum, sorry, I've got Astra Militarum on the brain. Adeptus Sororitas, the miracle dice used to be at the beginning of every battle round. It's now
Yes.
at every turn.
Correct.
Okay.
So you're
Excellent.
guaranteed to get another one.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is good because when they changed the rules to how you gain miracle dice, it became much harder for you to gain miracle dice.
And plus,
It became too hard, would you say?
yeah,
Not too hard, but it's just because there used to be, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, there used to be like 8 to 10 ways to get miracle dice, and they reduced that to like 4.
And when elves came in with their super special future
I was
dice,
going to say, this is definitely to keep up with Strands of Fate.
yeah, it made miracle dice feel much weaker as a comparison.
Because it was basically that, but better.
yeah. So giving a bit
Yeah.
more evenness to miracle dice, thumbs up.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Jimmy, would you like to talk to us about the Astra Militarum changes? Because, boy, oh boy, there's a specific rule in here that I think we need to talk about in a little bit more depth.
So if all of your units have the same regiment,
which they would.
Ranged
You get
attacks
Daka Daka.
on an unmodified roll of 6 automatically wounds a target.
Yeah.
Oh, it's similar to Daka Daka.
Automatically wounds a target.
And it's just like, and this as soon as I thought, I was looking at Reddit and I was looking at threads and stuff, and it's just like people are just talking conscripts.
Yeah.
Units of 20 to 30 conscripts, and you just
Aim it at something.
Aim it at something,
Six-
and you're throwing.
It automatically wounds. Like, that's insane.
You're throwing first rank fire on them. You're throwing like Relic of Lost Cadia on them. Like, it's just insane how powerful this can be.
It is, and I would just want to say that I think people underestimate auto wound. If auto wound is the mechanic that Deathwatch abuses right now. Auto wound, if you can get hits, you can get wounds, and you will be quite surprised just how few auto wounds are required to bring a model down, because the sheer weight of numbers really plays into that auto wound mechanic. If you can get the perfect thing is like a -1 AP, if you can get that onto an auto wounding mechanic, or -2 AP, even better, but -1 AP on an auto wounding mechanic is extremely strong. You should not underestimate that.
Absolutely.
100%. I mean, I can see them trying to change the points for the infantry squads, but I feel like it's a much better boon than it is like a nerf in terms of the points.
Absolutely.
I'm actually really excited to see where Astra Militarum are going to go as we lead up towards their eventual codex.
This seems like a huge band-aid for their codex.
Yeah,
Which
well,
seems like
temporary, but I'd like to see
but
what'll happen.
How temporary is it going to be? Like, how long is it going to be before they get a book now?
No, I
Because
think
this is a pretty huge buff.
Probably
it is
going to
a
be the
huge
last
buff.
one.
But I think
Yeah.
I think this is foreshadowing where the book is going to go, and I think this is kind of like you're getting a peek into what they're doing in the book, which will be finished by now. Let's face it, the book is probably finished. It's going
probably-
through.
Yeah, it's just down the
QA,
pipeline.
It is being checked on the printers. It's ready
Being
to
checked for
distribute,
typos.
right?
Yeah.
So
But you're probably going to see it at the end of the edition, like, or like the end of like the codex releases. So that's why they've given such a big band-aid for the army.
yeah.
Custodes, look, I'll keep it really short and simple. They very specifically target stratagems that people are abusing and made them once per battle. It sucks, but you're probably going to end up using your points on other abilities now, which is not intrinsically a bad thing. I kind of see it as the same as how we were talking about with the Tau. But they're a bit too strong. I feel like this might bring them back in line a bit.
Fair enough.
The poor Custodes, they had no CP, then they had a lot of CP and too much CP. Now they're getting it nerfed to take their CP away.
Yeah,
Like-
look, this is what happens.
I'm not going to lie. I've been trolling the Facebook marketplace for like cheap chaos models.
Oh, yeah.
And in the last, probably since this come out, I've seen a lot more Custodes armies up for sale.
Yeah,
It might be time to buy in.
Yep.
that's it. It's like the stocks, I
Buy
swear.
low, sell high.
That's it. Guys, I don't know. I didn't actually have a look at the AdMech updates.
No
Do
one
you
cares.
guys-
Let me just move on.
Moving on. Shout out to my friend Ryan who plays AdMech.
Yeah.
We're thinking about you in this moment. Guys,
I'm not going to
they
lie.
talked
I read
about
Astra
us.
Militarum and that's it.
They talked about us. They said my name. They said salamanders.
Yay.
Is something. They only said it because they changed a rule that specifically affected us. So they took our rule, as we discussed before, and gave it to all power armor users. And instead, they gave us another rule. You can't re-roll wound rolls against us, which
It's surprisingly strong.
is
That's surprisingly
good.
strong,
It's
yeah.
it's quite good. I don't know if it fit the same kind of vibe as before, though.
No.
'Cause before it was
you're
supposed to
getting
be
armor
like-
of contempt.
We're
but-
getting both. I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. So you're getting
But-
armor of contempt, which overrules your original chapter thing. But
Yeah.
it's not like those wound rolls, especially when people are using like one shot, extremely high AP,
Like damage, AB stuff,
right?
yeah.
Things. If they miss and they can't re-roll, that is a huge, you know, underachievement. I want to say
It's-
they're not
it's a
putting,
huge-
they're not
huge
putting out,
achievement, yeah,
they're not putting out the damage that they should be that turn. right? So it's a big negative on those very swingy rolls. So it's surprisingly strong.
Yeah. I'm actually very keen to bring the salamanders back on the channel just to see what the changes are like.
Ooh.
So Jack, we can plan that.
Hell yeah. I was going to say I don't know how strong this is compared to something else that might be a little bit stronger. Like my mind went to Thousand Suns because they still get this new rule for the power armor stuff as well, and they still have All Is Dust.
Yeah.
Everything that is 1 damage gives them +1 save. So all of the new things that came out, like Tyranids is a prime example, where they have Flesh Borers, which are now strength 5, -1 AP, but they're only 1 damage. They're going to now ignore that AP 1, and they're still going to get their +1 save. So they're going to have 2-ups,
They
which
get
is
the
insane.
+1 save if it's a damage 1 weapon, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot of the meta. Loads of things are strength 5 or something, now -1. All the Eldar stuff is now strength 4 -1. So they would just ignore the AP flat. It'll be like exactly what it was before, AP 0, and get All Is Dust. It's exactly how it was.
It's pretty strong. All right. The Chaos Space Marine stuff, that's from before. Death Guard stuff, I think that's from before as well.
It's just
Jack.
that's not very terribly interesting.
Jack, you got to talk to me about some Drukhari, some Harlequins. You got to talk to me about these new changes.
Gosh.
They've prefaced this thing. This is the big meat and potatoes. Other than the bodyguard rule, I feel like for the Dataslate is how they had an army with 75% win rate.
Yes.
And how they're fixing it.
Yes. Well, I won't go on forever and ever. And I will say that at the end of one of our streams, where this starter slate actually came out, Jack was standing right next to me, and Connor read from the chair saying that the Starweavers went from 90 points up to 130, and he yelled straight into my ear at how gobsmacked he was, and then I was deaf. So yeah, it's a big change. I've never heard a man like that yell so loud before. But
talk to me about it. As a man who does not understand your disgusting elf ways, explain it to me.
Well, I think the Void Weavers have been nerfed back to a normal amount of play. 40 points for a unit like that is a huge nerf. So that's good, I reckon. I still don't think that they were that as oppressive as everyone thought they were anyway. I mean, with any of the new books coming out, like Nids would have just crushed them with Screamer Killers. They would have had absolutely no chance to winning. If you played into that matchup, you were doomed from the start. But this nerf is going to make it a lot more playable for all the other armies that aren't going to get a new book for a long time now. So I reckon the Quins, they're fine. They're totally good. And Drukhari, I think, got a buff because a lot of people were playing Ynnari, and they wanted to include Drukhari units, and that actually took away Strands of Fate. So you wouldn't, because Ynnari is treated as a craft world itself. However, if you include the Drukhari units in the normal codex before they FAQ'd it, a Drukhari unit would actually break your keyword for Strands of Fate, so you wouldn't be able to get those beautiful automatic hits, wounds, saves, whatever. But now you can. So a bit of a buff. But yeah, I think that's all that's really needed to talk about, I think. So not bad.
I think that's all the changes. Did we cover them all? Am I forgetting something? We've done it. And we did it within 15 minutes.
Nailed it.
Hey.
Woo!
Good job, guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, what do you guys think of the like, to summarize this Balance Dataslate? What do you guys think? Thumbs up.
I give it 3.5 stars.
3.5 stars. I would have given it 4, but yeah.
Well, there you go. You can. You're allowed to. I'm not stopping you from giving it 4 stars, but I'm giving it 3.5.
That's very sweet.
That Quinn's got a bit over nerfed. Tau got a bit over nerfed. I would have just given them the ballistic skill modifier thing and not the +1 to the save, because that seems like a bit strong. No one's going to run SMS missiles anymore at all because it's just too much of a nerf. The Armor of Contempt and the Astra Militarum things seem like band-aids, which they're going to change in the near future. And I'm keen for Drukhari, and yeah, I don't know if there is much else to discuss.
Yeah.
But pretty cool.
How many stars out of 5?
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. I reckon they did pretty well this time.
Guys, I think overall, the battle slates have been pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's a good
I like how
mechanism.
they're tending to a lot of armies all at once, and they're getting pretty close to nailing it. I'm glad with this approach. I'm glad that they've changed their approach a bit from the FAQs.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely, it's good.
Yeah, I think it's well needed to balance a game that a lot of people are invested in to do very small hot fixes on a regular basis, and I'm definitely not going to complain.
Yeah. Well, we have definitely run out of time, so I'm going to make it quick. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming on today.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's actually been a
Thank
wild
you.
ride of a pod.
It's been a very wild ride. And I think we went about 30 minutes without roasting Jackson, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I won't have to cry into my pillow tonight.
Let's see how we go after we finish recording.
Yeah, that's true.
No, don't
I want to thank
leave
you
me
guys,
now.
all you listeners out there.
No.
Yeah, come check us out on our streams. Keep an eye out for my Salamander game in the future against Jackson.
And some
What else,
nuts.
Jack? Do we have any more
You
plugs?
can join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a stream on Saturday. As normal. We have a stream yesterday that you can check out. Thursday's stream as well. It will be Custodians vs Tyranids, and the game on Saturday will be Tyranids, of course. You can join us next week for yet another podcast. And even better, Farhan, when the podcast releases next Friday, we will actually be streaming on Friday instead of Saturday. We have a stream on Thursday going on,
What?
and another stream on Friday instead of Saturday with Dalton from the Risky Rollers, who's coming up from Melbourne, who will be on the
that's
channel
sweet.
as well.
Damn.
And then I will be going to the Maitland 5-player tournament with Dalton on Saturday and Sunday, and I will probably be recording it and making it into a video, so you have a video to look forward to as well.
Almost
And
like a
then we'll be
log,
back
a
to-
video log.
Yeah, a vlog, some may call it. And then we'll be
What?
back to normal stuff on Thursday. And then Saturday, we will not be having a stream the following week because I'll be going down to Melbourne to play on their channel. Even
Ooh.
better. That's right. Yeah. Well, I'll be playing at a doubles tournament down there with Jack. Jack and Jack, the Jack Attack, we're going together. And then we are going to go on their channel for a doubles game. So stay tuned for all of that.
My goodness.
Hell yeah.
Well,
I think I got it all.
well done.
That's a lot.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.